All right. Thank you all for being here today. I'm so glad that you could attend this, whether you're watching it live or you're watching it on Facebook or you're watching it recorded after the fact. So I hope today you can learn some really interesting things to help you with your Ironman training. And just to let everyone know, if you are not on my email list, you can email me at Markel140.6, that's 140.6, the distance of an Ironman, at gmail.com. So I hope all of y'all can join that, and I'll be sending out several times a week updates and encouragement and just new information about products and such. So I am going to go off screen here in just a moment, and I will show y'all the slide presentation, and then there will be room for questions at the end if you have any. But if you're watching this later, you can feel free to message me on any of my social media or also at that email address that I just shared, and I can answer any and all of those questions for you. So just a little bit about myself. I am a coach. I've been a coach for over 22 years. I've been coaching swimmers individually for 25 years. And I love working with people that are aspiring to do their first Ironman. So I hope some of this information today will resonate with each of you. All right, I'm going to go ahead and share the screen for y'all. And if you don't watch it, it's okay. I'll be saying everything that is also on the screen, so it is not necessary for you to view it. So today we're going to talk about Endura Ironman training and how evaluation is a necessary first step to that training. So in case you don't know, most of you may know, but if you're new to the sport of Ironman and just thinking about doing it, an Ironman is a 2.4 mile swim. It is a 112 mile bike and a 26 2-mile run, which is also a marathon. So at the end of a nice long swim, you get to hop on your bike as fast as possible and pound the pavement for hours. And then just when you're ready to crash and burn, you get to start a marathon late in the afternoon. So it is one of the most thrilling and fun things an athlete can do. It is extremely difficult, I'm not going to lie, but it is something that is so powerful and so rewarding. To date, as far as education and training and sporting events and anything like that outside of having an amazing daughter, doing the Ironman is the thing that was the most fulfilling in my life, that I truly felt I put the work in and earned every single bit of it, and that helped me become part of a very special and elite group of athletes. I made some of the best friends I've ever made because of it, and had some of the greatest experiences in my life. Reasons people want to do an Ironman. So there's lots of reasons that people want to do Ironmans. Sometimes people want to challenge themselves. Sometimes people want to try something new. And sometimes people want to get in better shape. Or they might want to inspire themselves to be better, be stronger. I'm not sure why my slide presentation keeps skipping ahead, but I will try to prevent that from happening again. They may also want to inspire others. And then one thing I always say is that people just want that Ironman tattoo. Several people who know me know that I always said the only tattoos I would get would be the Olympic rings if I had become an Olympic athlete, which I did not, or if I was an Ironman. And I did become an Ironman, and I did get an Ironman tattoo. So it's something that, you know, when you're out and about, people see it. People see the sticker on your car, your custom license plate. It earns you a lot of clout and distinction. And the other day I was at the zoo with my daughter, and all of a sudden I hear someone behind me yell, "Is that Markel?" And I turn around, and it was a friend that I had not seen since high school. And she said, well, I saw your Ironman bag on your back, and I thought, who has curly hair and did an Ironman? That must be Markel. So even people who don't do Ironmans recognize people because they have done an Ironman. And this is a little more about who I am. I'm a swimming and triathlon sports performance specialist and coach for over 20 years. I've trained thousands of athletes from beginner to Ironman World Championships and Olympic gold medalists. Every Ironman I have ever trained has finished the Ironman under the cutoff time, with one exception that I will share in just a bit. And I'm an expert at preventing injuries and helping athletes overcome injuries. I spent 4 years working for orthopedic surgeons and then 5 years working for a physical therapist. So although I am not a physical therapist or an orthopedic surgeon, I am well versed in the rehabilitation and injury prevention department. I have a knack and specialty in the swimming world, and we're going to talk more about that today. But I train athletes virtually to swim, which is a unique thing that not a lot of people do. I also train people locally, but the distance does not matter. I've trained swimmers in different countries, different states, different cities, and currently do that every day. The Endura method of training is a proprietary system of Ironman training that I've developed over many years of training athletes. So not only am I an Ironman myself, but I have been training Ironmans since before I ever did an Ironman. And it's a very specific system that has come about by many, many trials, very few errors. But just developing a method that is most effective to help people reach that very, very esteemed goal of completing an Ironman. The Endura method is a proven and effective method. As I said before, I've never had an Ironman that I trained not be able to compete because of not being ready or being injured. I have one exception. The only time I had an athlete that I trained not complete their Ironman was because they were sick on race day. They got a virus several days prior. I advised them not to race because of it. They chose to still race, and they did not end up finishing because they were too ill and had to be taken off the course. But that person had previously completed an Ironman under my training. It actually was pretty interesting. I met that individual 12 weeks before their first Ironman. Their best friend called me up and said, my best friend's going to die in the Galveston Bay in 6 weeks if you don't help me out. I need you to help me help my friend. And I'm like, what are you talking about? They're like, my friend cannot swim, and he's doing a half Ironman in 6 weeks and a full Ironman in 12 weeks. It scared me to death because I did not want them to drown. And let me tell you, they put in the work, but we worked very hard together, and they were able to compete their half Ironman 6 weeks later and their full Ironman 12 weeks later. And they were very successful. They did not complete their third Ironman, but they did complete their first and their second Ironmans. The third one was when they were physically ill with a virus on race day. So I always put that in there just as a disclaimer, but they did complete their Ironmans that we trained together for. Today, the component we are going to discuss is evaluation. So if you know about my proprietary system, the very first step is evaluation. And why do I place such an emphasis on evaluation? Well, we've got to know where we are before we can decide where we can go and how to get there. Many people use the example of a map or a GPS, that you have to know where you're going and you have to be able to see the course and the map. But if you don't know where you are, you're in a really, really tough situation, because you have to be able to identify where you are in order to know how you have to get to the next step and every step after that. Evaluation for some people, simply just hearing that word can increase their stress level. But in the Endura method of training, evaluation reduces stress both physically and emotionally. I'm going to share this example. That's a real life example. Some of you may have heard it before when I was speaking, but in the Endura method, evaluation can help you immensely. When my daughter was wanting to join year-round swimming, they had to do an evaluation. They needed to see where she was at that particular time. That's where you are when you have your GPS and you click in your destination and it says starting from or starting point or location. It wants to know where you are right now so it can tell you how to get where you're going. So they needed to see where she was at that particular time with her swimming skills. They also needed to see how prepared she was mentally and emotionally. And I'm using both of those steps when I'm evaluating my athletes that I'm going to work with. They also wanted to know what her trajectory was. How much potential did she have? If they put her in a group that was too simple for her, she would be bored. If the group was too advanced for her, she could end up hating it and she can end up injured. And those are things that I do not allow in my method of training. You're not allowed to hate it, and you're not going to hate it. You're not going to end up bored, and you're certainly not going to end up injured on my watch. The Endura method will focus first on evaluation. This will help make the training more enjoyable to every athlete and will help prevent injuries. If an athlete has a beginner level of fitness, they need to start at a different place than someone who has been doing sprint triathlons. Some people would categorize sprint as a starting place for a triathlon, but that is not true. An athlete doing sprint triathlons is usually very, very fit. They're just not conditioned to do an Ironman because it's a different distance. Same as someone wanting to do a marathon and they've been training for 5Ks. They may be the fastest runner on the planet, but they may not be prepared to complete a marathon. If an athlete has been doing half Ironmans, which is also an incredible fitness level, they need to start from a different place than someone who's been mainly running marathons. In the Ironman, there are not only 3 sports, as most people think of it, but there are 5 sports. You have the swim, you have the transition from the swim to the bike, you have the bike, the transition from the bike to the run, and then you have the run. So all of these different levels of training, you could have been a competitive swimmer your whole life, you can be an Olympic marathoner, but you're still going to know a very different type of training from wherever you are at that particular place. And that's where I want to know where you are and why I want to know where you are so that we can start you from the right place. Now, not only am I evaluating you, but you need to evaluate you. And in the programs I offer, there's not only an evaluation that I need to do, but there's also an evaluation that you need to do. And it's extremely important that you're very honest with yourself in this. I'm not looking for anyone to impress me. I'm not looking for anyone to say, oh yeah, I'm a really, really good triathlete. Oh, I've been doing this for years. I'm looking for an actual assessment of where you are right now. You may have even done an Ironman 10, 15, 20 years ago, 5 years ago, 3 years ago. But that doesn't mean you're ready to do that Ironman today. So it's very important that we take the evaluation phase very seriously. Now, I want to share a little story with you right here. This is not about a triathlete. This is about a swimmer. But as I said, one of my specialties is working with swimmers or creating swimmers out of non-swimmers. Some of you may have experienced that with me before. So I had this swimmer. They were in Florida. They were a moderate level swimmer. They were in high school. They competed at different championship meets. They had even gone to junior nationals before. So they were what most people would classify as a pretty good swimmer. Well, they came to me with a shoulder injury. I did not know them beforehand, so I couldn't work on the prevention phase at that point in time. We were now at the get the injury better phase. So I knew right where he was. He was a decent swimmer, a junior nationals qualifier, but had a shoulder injury. I went through a full evaluation with him and saw that not only did he have a shoulder injury, but he also had a lot of, shall we say, areas in which he could improve. So I saw a lot of gaps that had been in his training when we started working together. 2 weeks after we started working together, this thing some of you might have heard of, COVID-19, global pandemic, happened. And all of a sudden, he was out of the water. He was not able to swim at all. There was not a single pool open. So guess what? We started doing my dryland performance training. So we worked on the injury prevention, but we also worked on the dryland performance side. We started working together. He did some of my workouts on his own, and he also did some workouts with me, but he had written workouts that he could do on his own as well. And once he got in the water, about 6 weeks later, his coach said, "What in the heck have you been doing? You are faster now than you were 6 weeks ago, and you haven't even touched the water." And he told his coach what he's been doing, and his coach was overjoyed. So we worked together about another 6 weeks, and I'm not going to disclose his name, but I said, "You know what? You're really starting to improve." And he said, "Yeah, I've been really doing a lot better at practice." And I'm like, "Have your workouts been hard at practice?" He's like, "No, they're the same as always, but I've been doing these workouts you've told me to do." Within about 6 more weeks, I said, "You know what? I think you may be able to make your Olympic trials time." And he said, "What?" I was like, "Yeah, I think you could." Well, fast forward a few more months and some more work in my program, he not only made his Olympic trials time, he made the U.S. national junior team, and he got a full ride to one of the top 10 Division I schools in the country. And the difference was the dryland training program, the strength and conditioning program that I do with swimmers, which is also the strength and conditioning program I do with Ironman triathletes. Now, I don't have you work on starts and turns and underwaters because you're not having to push off the pool every 25 yards to 50 meters. But it is a very similar dryland program that I put my Ironman triathletes through. And they are able to see massive progress in their swim. Now, what if you're doing this swim portion of the Ironman and you don't even know how to swim? Well, that's okay. We can work with that. This self-evaluation will help you know what place you're in. And when you talk to me the first time, you're going to say, "This is how much I can swim," which may be 0 yards, it may be 25 yards, it may be a 500, but maybe you can even swim a couple miles. Maybe you can swim 2.4 miles. But you can change your swimming technique to make it where you are not exhausted when you get out of the water. Ironmans aren't usually won on the swim, but they are often DNF'd on the swim, and people often become injured because their swim technique isn't correct. I have been to so many Ironmans, and I have seen people be out in the lake 10 seconds into the swim, and they throw their hands up, and a kayak comes and picks them up. Can you imagine training for an entire year for a whole Ironman, and 10 seconds in, you have to throw up your hands and say, "I'm done"? walking back into work on Monday or Tuesday or Wednesday, whatever day you go back, coming to all your friends that you've told you're doing an Ironman and having to say, I didn't even get 100 yards into the swim. Or maybe you made it 3,000 yards. Maybe you made it 2.39 miles. Maybe you finished the entire swim and you got to the end of the swim and they said, I'm so sorry. You just missed the cutoff time. We're not going to be allowed to let you continue the race. That has to be one of the most devastating feelings in the sport world. And I've seen it happen. I've seen people hang their head in shame, although they shouldn't be ashamed, but I see the look on their face. I see people coming to the end of the swim and looking up at the clock and tears just streaming down their face because they know they're not swimming, that they're not going on to the rest of the race. They may have done the entire swim, but they're not going to make it. I was on an airplane a couple months ago and I kept hearing Ironman, Ironman, It's like when you're at a party and you hear your boss say your name, it's loud, there's lots of music, can't hear anything, but when they say your name, oh, my boss is talking about me. Well, it's the same when you're an Ironman, all of a sudden you hear the word Ironman come up in conversations. So after the flight, I stood up and I looked back behind me and I said, oh, are you the person that did the Ironman? And she goes, well, I'm the person that started the Ironman. And I said, what? She said, I didn't finish. And I'm so devastated. She said, I have trained for and started 10 Ironmans. And I've only completed 5 of them. And I said, you've completed 5 Ironmans? That's absolutely incredible. And she said, no, I've not finished 5 Ironmans. Even though she had the joy and satisfaction of completing 5 Ironmans, that feeling of not completing 5 Ironmans was just devastating to her. And I don't want any of y'all to feel that level of devastation. Day 1 assessment for the EnduraSwim Strength program. This is the next thing I'm going to discuss. So this is for the strength training portion of the EnduraSwim Strength program. So in the EnduraSwim Strength program, we have swim videos, we have strength training, we have mobility training, we have balance training, we have coordination, we have all these different components that are exactly what you need as a swimmer. You need endurance, you need balance, you need the ability to sight, you need the ability to breathe correctly. And all of these things can be worked on the land. Yes, I just said that. I know there's a lot of you out there that don't always have access to a pool. I know there are a lot of you out there that may have to travel quite a ways to get to a pool. I know a lot of you out there that may only get to swim once or twice a week. Obviously, I recommend swimming when you are training for a triathlon, but we can't always swim as much as we need to. The other thing is, swimming is an extremely repetitive sport, and shoulder injuries, back pain, neck pain is very common in the sport of swimming. And one way to make yourself a better swimmer, make yourself more comfortable in the water, and to avoid injury is through the EnduraSwim Strength program. I'm training an athlete who did not previously know how to swim, and he's an adult, and I'm training him to be able to swim. And last week, he made astronomical progress in his swim, all because I gave him 2 of the EnduraSwim Strength exercises, and he practiced them at home on his own. So this is a question you're going to ask yourself, and I'm going to look at this answer. What part of my swim feels the strongest? This could be my catch feels the strongest, or I'm really good at getting a breath, or I've got an incredible kick, or no part of my swim is the strongest. I should sink straight to the bottom of the pool, or it could be a litany of different things. But whether it is, the answer is, I don't know how to swim, or I'm terrified of swimming, or I can swim 5 miles, I still want to know what portion of your swim feels the strongest. The next question you're going to ask yourself is, what part of my swim feels the weakest? Okay, these questions are extremely important because we need to know where you are. I need to know where you are, and you need to know where you are as you're starting out in your endeavor to swim the Ironman. This is also applicable for half Ironman training, or even sprint triathlon training, or just swimming, but it is geared toward Ironman athletes. But knowing what part of your swim feels the strongest and what feels the weakest can really fill in the gaps in what you need to do in this strength training program. The next question is, where and when do I experience pain in the swim? Okay, I want you to describe the type of pain and the intensity. So this could be, I have a dull ache in the front of my shoulder after I swim about 500 yards. Okay, this could be every time I swim, my neck hurts. Okay, so where do you experience the swim? When do you experience it? Oh, I experience it 100 yards in. I experience pain in my shoulder in the back half of my stroke. Any of these, there's not a right or wrong answer. It's all, again, just seeing where you are in that GPS. And I want you to describe the type of pain and the intensity. It feels like a needle stabbing in my shoulder, and it's a level 8. I feel like I'm gonna die. It feels like someone punched me in the shoulder, but it's a level 4. It doesn't happen until after I swam 1,000 yards, but once it hurts, I can barely lift my arm and take another stroke. The next question, this one is really important. How do I make myself swim faster when that is my goal? If your answer is that you just go faster, you move your arms faster, you move your legs faster, you might need this swim program. There are a lot of things, a lot of different components that should put together to make a fast swim. Okay, so do I move my arms faster? Do I kick my legs faster? Do I take a quicker breath? Do I take more strokes? Do I lengthen out my stroke? Do I rotate my hips more? Do I cycle less frequently? What do you do to make yourself faster? And that's your goal. Not a problem, whatever the answer is. Just again, we need to know the answer. So now is where we get into some of the exercises. This is definitely not all the exercises we have in the program, and it is not all the exercises we have in the evaluation, but just a few of these today. If you're watching this after the fact and you want to pause it and actually go through this, you can totally do that. So how many push-ups can I do with my hands neutral in 30 seconds? So that means with your hands just in a quote unquote regular push-up position, how many push-ups can you do in 30 seconds? And then it says, what is my pain on a scale of 0 to 10? Maybe you feel like you're going to collapse and hit the ground. Maybe you get a sharp pain in your mid-back. Maybe you have no pain, but those are definitely things to take note of. How many push-ups can I do with my right hand in front in 30 seconds? And what is my pain on a scale of 0 to 10? Well, again, here we go. It's not a neutral position. Now your hands are in a neutral position and you take your right hand 6 to 12 inches in front. Why are we doing this? Because when you're swimming freestyle, you want to have one hand slightly in front of the other during the catch phase. And as you pull through, your hands will switch to where the other hand is in front of the other. So this is very correlative to the swim. Next one, how many push-ups can I do with left hands in front in 30 seconds? pain 0 to 10. Now, what if your answer is 0 on all 3 of these questions? Then let's try something different. How many push-ups can you do in that position with your hands on your kitchen counter or with your hands on the wall, but your feet are 12 to 18 inches away? All of those are totally okay. Just mark them down so you can see your progress. How many flutter or freestyle kicks can I do in 60 seconds? Each side counts as a rep, so right leg, left leg. Now, this does not mean in the pool, okay? This means on the ground. So you can be flat on your stomach. You can have your hands over your head. You can have them by your side. You can have them out at the teeth. Just make note of the position you're in. And how many of these kicks can you do in 60 seconds? If the answer is 0, that's just good information, okay? You don't have to shame yourself or feel bad about yourself. We just need to know. And we need to know what the pain is. Do you feel a intense burn like your legs are gonna fall off 10 seconds in? Do you get a cramp in your hamstring? Does it hurt your knee or your ankle? Do you have hip flexor pain, low back pain? Any of those things, we need to know. All of these answers help us know different information and help us know where you are at the starting point. All of these questions will also help you see your improvement, which is a very important factor. So, knowing these questions will not automatically make you a better swimmer, but it will help you see where you might have some deficits or where you might have some strengths. Now, these are not all of the questions that you have to do on your first evaluation day. These are just some of them. There's a litany of different exercises that you're going to have, and you're going to have a different proficiency at each of these, and that's all completely okay. But we just want to know where you are and where you're going. It will help us know, and it will help you know how to start the progression. And it will help you see your progress. It will also ensure your progress at the correct rate so you do not become overtrained or injured. That is a big one. A lot of people want to progress really fast. But this Ironman journey isn't a fast journey. Now, some of you may be 12 weeks out from your Ironman, and you may need to progress a little bit quicker than some others. But we still need to know that, and you still need to know that, so you can understand how quickly you need to progress. Now, today I want to share about a program that I have created. I'm going to stop my screen share. This program that I've created is called EnduraSwim Strength. That's what I was speaking about today. This program is a 9-week strength training program with strength, endurance, mobility, stability, coordination, balance, body line, strength, power, but all in an extremely specific way to help you be able to create an excellent Ironman swim that you can feel proud of. This swim portion is not something to be taken lightly. I've had so many athletes over the years that say, I just got to get through the swim and then I can get on with the rest of an Ironman. But you know what? So many people expend so much energy in the swim portion that it destroys them for the rest of the race. They may get through it, but they may not enjoy it. So this strength training program, EnduraSwim Strength, will help you have all the necessary components you need to be able to successfully finish an Ironman without injury. Now, I have a bunch of other programs, but the program I'm offering to you today is the 9-week strength training program, and it also has progressions and instructions about how to keep progressing it on your own. So say you're a year out from your first Ironman, or you're 3 months out from your first half Ironman, or you're 6 weeks out from a sprint triathlon. That's okay. All right. It will show you how to go about this program. And if you're longer than the 9 weeks out, it's going to give you step-by-step modifications so that you can continue to get better as you go along. The other great part is that you can do it all in your own home with zero equipment. Most people that are doing Ironmans are really hardworking, high achieving, successful individuals. You probably work a lot of hours. You probably have family or friends or significant others or animals that you're obligated to. Training for these races take up a tremendous amount of time. No one wants to throw in a ton more training every week. This program is designed to spend anywhere from 15 to 30 minutes 3 times a week on your strength training program to equip you to do an excellent swim portion of your Ironman. If you want to spend more time, there's definitely ways in this program where you can spend additional time. If you really enjoy the strength training program, or you're starting at a further back place of swimming, but being able to know exactly where you are and where you're trying to go with this program will help you succeed in the Ironman or whatever distance whatever distance triathlon you're going to do, be it a half Ironman, an Olympic, a sprint, a super sprint. So this program is usually $2,995, but today I am offering it at a price of $1,495. So essentially half price. I don't know how long I'm going to be offering it at this price. I can tell you it will not be forever. I've just launched this product, and so I'm giving people a really reduced rate to try this program out. When I say I'm just launching this product, I have been using these exercises and these methodologies for over 22 years with my swimmers. But it packaged in this 9-week program with this evaluation process, with these specific exercise, with this specific progression, this is what I'm offering as a new product for aspiring triathletes or current triathletes that want to improve. So I don't know if it's going to be a week that I offer it at this price, or a month, or 6 weeks. I haven't decided yet, but I can guarantee you when I take it up to the higher price, it won't be going back. So if you are interested in this program, feel free to shoot me an email at Markell, MARKELL, 140.6@gmail.com, or you can catch me on Instagram at Markell 140.6, or you can catch me on my YouTube channel at Markell 140.6. Any of these locations, you're going to be able to check out my information. You're going to be able to see a little bit more about what I do, and you're going to be able to ask me questions. I have some more videos on my YouTube channel that you're welcome to check out, and I also have a website that you can check out. It's markellofficial.com. So thank you so much for being part of this webinar today, whether you're watching it live or you're watching it on the replay. And I hope to hear from all of you so I can help you improve the swim portion of your Ironman. Have a great rest of your day, depending on where you are and what time it is and what day you're watching this. Thanks for joining me, and I will see you all soon.